Hey Hotshots, Jess with Emotional Fire Academy here today to talk about breaking emotional dependency with outside reality. This is a really advanced teaching I'm really excited to talk about today. Welcome to Emotional Fire Academy. Subscribe if you're someone who would love to wants to live an epic, amazing, incredible life. And we provide tactical mindfulness tools to do just that. Welcome, Jess. I'm glad you're here. We're approaching 2,000 subscribers. I'm so excited. Thank you to all of you who are here and who tune in regularly. As you can see, I've been mixing up the location lately, so thanks for joining me today. So, oh gosh, how do we, let's unpack this. We tend to have this fixation, and I don't know where it comes from. I think it's just kind of our conditioning as we get as children, kind of the natural gravitation of our attention to the 3D reality. And we let it to dictate how we feel 100% of the time, right? We're constantly just reacting to reality, letting it, using reality to judge how well we're doing. When really we're only participating, interacting with reality 50% of the time or less. I made a video about this, about use your imagination for joy and not pain, because we are literally in our imagination at least 50% of the time. So that means we're only really actually seeing what's happening in reality probably 50% or less of the time, but it dictates 100% of how we feel. Those numbers just don't add up. They don't add up here. So, when we start to take back our power, and I've done videos on power, and power is really important. It's one of my favorite words. When we give, 100% of that power of our emotions, of how we feel, of how we're judging ourselves, of whether we're succeeding in life, whether we're doing good, whether we're happy, if we put all of that responsibility on this slice of reality that we're actually paying attention to, it becomes problematic. We then are giving our power away, right, to something that maybe doesn't deserve it, doesn't deserve all of the power. So this is where a lot of people, people who are really emotional masters are able to feel good despite their circumstances, despite what they're experiencing in life, despite what's happening around them, despite, and this is where we take that power back and say, I get to decide how I feel. I as the individual, I as the center of my universe, I decide how I feel despite what's happening. And that's reeling in that power, reeling it back in to where it belongs. Because otherwise we just get tossed about by life. We get tossed about, and this is where the people who learn how to do this is an advanced skill. It is. This is really where the meat and potatoes is. The people who learn how to do this can transcend anything then. They can really transcend anything that happens to them. And that is where we can all be. Your pure potential. Last week's video, I'll link it above. Your pure potential. We can all be there. We can all be there, even instantly. We can be like, outside reality, I'm not letting you dictate my joy anymore. I'm not letting you dictate how I feel. And so how do we do this practically? How do we start to detach a bit from reality, from at least letting it decide for us? Let's just not let it decide for us anymore. We can if we want. We can be like, okay, I'll flow along with this and play the game. But I know that I can also do option B instead. So what's option B? It's nice to have some sort of visual framework, right? So I made a video once about how reality is a dream in our senses, and let's kind of return to that for a quick second and unpack it again. So just like we don't let, say, the dreams that we have at night dictate how we feel, right? When you have a bad dream, you wake up and you kind of shake it off and you're like, yeah, but above it is kind of like, oh, but there's reality. I return to reality. I realize from that point that, oh, the dream is it's just a dream. It's fine. I'm not worried about it, not scared about it. this is kind of what we do then. We replicate that with 3D reality. So we look at kind of the stairs. We have the dreams, like sleeping dream state. We have 3D reality. And then up here we've got imagination, which is where we actually are at least half of our day. We're in our memories, our simulating things that we think are going to happen. That's where we really are paying our attention to. Our focus and our time and our energy and our attention and our emotional reactions are actually going to that, to pure imagination. So do the same thing there. Be like, you know what? This is, approach it like you would a dream that you're having at night. You wake up from it, you go into a space of imagination and be like, you know what, that might be what I'm seeing right now, but everything is constantly changing. Anything can change at any minute. That might be what's happening now, but it's going to be different. It's going to be different. I'm going to go into this imaginary space and experience something different for the time being. Experience something different. Or divert my attention away to the things I really enjoy in the 3D reality. Or go to the places in 3D reality you really love. A good book. Like I said, a daydream, an imagination, hang out with a friend. Focus on that stuff instead. And remove attention from the nightmarish parts of 3D reality and just shake them off like you would a dream at night. So that's kind of a good concept framework that we can use. And what are the resources that we have in order to really help us do this? I mentioned imagination. So we have an imaginal space where we can make anything happen and actually experience it in a sensory way, right? Our 5 senses in 3D reality are the same 5 senses we have in imagination. We can smell a chocolate chip cookie right now in our imagination. That warm, gooey, we can smell it. You see, you just probably conjured it up in your own imagination. That's how impressionable we are in imagination. So you've got this that you're already using at least 50% of the time. And you also have the voice in your head. You have the voice in your head that, again, verges on imagination. That voice in your head is actually crafted from a space of imagination. You can make that voice in your head say just about anything to you. You can turn it into your best friend. You can turn it into your mom's voice. You can turn it into the voice of your love of your life. You can turn it into an adoring fan. Like, that voice can say whatever you want it to say, instead of it just being a stream of unconscious thoughts. So you got the 5 senses of imagination. You have the voice in your head that you can. And when you first start reconditioning that voice, it feels a little bit awkward. It's like, oh gosh, I didn't have to devote energy to this before. But once you do that, once you kind of overcome the old habit and be like, oh, this is what I wanted to say instead. It's kind of fun to play with. It's like, wow, and it takes less and less effort, where you can actually kind of sit quietly and this voice will say amazing things to you, nice things to you, encouraging things to you, give you pep talks every day, love on you, tell you how awesome you are, again, so that's a resource. That's a resource that it's like a wild horse. You either let it run free, run amok all over your mind and kick up the poo and the dust, or you tame it and you train it to do what you want it to do. I speak from experience. I've done it. Once you tame that horse and you learn how to ride it, it's really fun and it's really supportive and it's there for you as a resource and not as, something you have to battle against all the time. So that's another resource we have to break our emotional dependency with 3D reality, because when we look out and everything in 3D is crap and we're like, you know what, I need some encouragement right now. I need a friend. There's that voice in our head. There it is. It's right there. Ready to serve, ready to help. There it is. And then the third resource we have of this is our capacity to make things habit. As we practice, like I said, with the voice in the head, when you make it a habit of having it say nice, caring, loving, supportive, amazing things, encouraging things, it becomes a habit, and in not that long of a time. Habit change can be instant. You can just decide, this is how it is from now on. This is how it is, and you don't accept anything less. And you keep reinforcing it. This doesn't have to take forever. It can be, you put all your energy and effort into it, it will be very quick. And the same thing with your imagination. If you if you're committed to the habit of it, it then becomes easier and easier. You have to put less and less effort into it. You have to put less and less conscious energy, and it becomes simple. And then it's like ingrained. So that's amazing. I mean, what an amazing capacity we have to make something an unconscious habit, to intentionally train ourselves, our resources to become habitual. Wow. Instead of just accepting them as they are, as they were shaped by, these limiting beliefs we had and false perceptions that we had, and just letting them be how we are and accepting them, and just saying, oh, that's just how I am. We can take a little time and retrain them like we would a horse and have them work for us instead of against us. So, and oftentimes we'll notice, that emotional dependence that we have is actually on our expectations of something. What hurts us is broken expectations, right? We've, in our imaginations, built up an expectation of how a situation was going to play out. And then when we perceive that expectation has been broken, that's when we crumble. We're like, oh, I've lost this. We haven't even lost something real yet. We lost the expectation. The imagination, the simulation that we made, the imaginal story is what we've lost, and we're emotionally reacting to that. So, whereas if we were just able to really be more mindful of, I haven't lost anything here, to reassure ourselves, everything, I haven't lost anything. Everything is going to work out for me. And feeling the genuineness of that. We kind of then, whatever emotional dependency we have, we are then taking back our power of being like, no, this is how it's going to go. This is how it's going to go. This isn't over yet. Story's not done. This hasn't ended. And then emanating what we want, being who we want. Often this comes in core values. So our core values of, so one of mine is power. One of my core values is power. So emanating power, instead of expecting my reality to show me that I'm powerful, right? That's one way we tend to draw off of 3D reality and expect it to kind of show me I'm powerful and then I'll believe it. No, knowing you're powerful and standing in that, and then emanating that power, emanating what you want the world to prove to you that you are, emanating that I'm brave, I'm strong, I can do this, I'm confident, I am this. I don't need 3D reality to prove to me because I know that I am it. And this is, I talked about this in the last video of true potential. So that is where we really claim our power. When we're sitting in the seat of our power and we decide to emanate the values that we're seeking the outside world to prove to us that we are, we emanate them instead. We're like, I'm going to radiate this. I am going to radiate this because I am it, because I don't need someone to prove to me that I'm powerful. I just know that I am powerful. I am powerful. And it doesn't matter what 3D reality is showing me, I'm going to stand in that truth and that knowing. That's when we really then can start to mold and shape. That's when the power reverses, right? Where we were looking to 3D reality to tell us how to feel, we decide how we're going to feel, and we project it into 3D reality. That's power. That's when you start affecting outcomes just naturally. That's when you start to, because you've claimed who you are. You're like, I don't care what you say, 3D reality. This is who I am. This is how I'm going to show up. And this is what I'm going to believe about myself. So let me know what you thought. Drop a comment below. And I hope that this video was helpful for you. Have a great day.